Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Ears to the East. We've got a bit of an interesting subject to talk about, and I came across this a couple of days ago on stream. It's the Medal Awards 2024. Now, this is an awards site that's been running for a couple of years now, quite prestigious, quite popular. It's one of those where that if you win an award, you get the right to slap that you won an award on your album. The year later, year later, best metal
Nice.
album of 2023. Voted by the people. But what I find particularly impressive this year in the year of 2024 is we've got quite a few Japanese artists for the first time ever. Not one, not two, but three different Japanese metal bands that are in this category, which has never been done before. And to make it better, those three Japanese artists are winning their categories at the minute, at the time of recording. That could change, but that's what it is. So this is a really kind of, I wouldn't say it's like the,
One might
the,
say
the most
deserved.
deserved. Yeah, I would totally say deserved. But what's very surprising is obviously when we see the likes of, I'm not going to mention who the bands are because we're going to get into that. But shall we say the audience of some of these bands that are in here aren't as big as some of these internationally famous bands like System of a Down that are household names, Metallica, Megadeth that are all infamous. I can see Howard already rolling his eyes. Oh, fucking hell, those
I'm
bands.
not rolling my eyes at all, my dear friends. I'm actually scrolling through, looking
Hmm.
at the wonderful awards they have here, and wondering where are the pictures of these Japanese bands? Because I notice all of the categories they have pictures of the Western bands, but if the Japanese bands are winning, maybe let's
If you
put
scroll
their
down,
pictures up there.
if you scroll down, you'll be able to
Oh,
see.
there we go.
Yeah, they'll be
I'm
at the bottom.
I'm just voting for Love Bites on my way through and realizing I haven't heard of half these other bands anyway, so it's fine. I vote for Love Bites. Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very interesting concept because we've never had this many Japanese bands in a category before, but we've never had this many Japanese bands winning those said categories, which I think is a really sort of hot topic for debate of the power of Japanese music at the minute and the popularity of these Japanese metal bands over, Western bands that are, let's be honest, have way more pulling power than Love Bites at the minute and stuff. If number of views and fans and receipts to gigs if it is anything to go by. So to see these bands up there and winning at the minute in the year 2024, it's got to be a good year for Japanese music, metal music, I would say.
Yeah, one of the things that's
I
really
mean,
sort of striking.
7K votes. It's not like it's just got a couple hundred votes.
Yeah, looking at the one which interests me. So I went to one of the awards is Power Metal Band 2024, clicked on Love Bites to give them a vote, and to my surprise, and there's a lot of bands in this category. There is a lot of just a quick look, 15 bands in this category, and Love Bites have over 40% of
40%.
the vote.
That was
Um,
Power Metal
and
got
shocking
even
to me.
the
20,000 votes, and they
Mm,
got
and
40% of that.
mm.
just to give you an idea, the second band who've got 10% of the vote, so less than a quarter of what Love Bites have, is a band called Powerwolf. A quick YouTube search says that they have 385,000 subscribers and 39 million views on the first video that comes up.
That's
Whereas when you
weird.
look at dear
Love
old Love
Bites.
Bites, now I know Love Bites have their content separated over a couple of channels. That is true. But you look
Mm.
anyway, and they've got 142,000 subscribers, less than half. And their videos often will, if they're good, for them, at least if
Mm.
they're in the good ranges of views, they'll clock in the sort of low millions.
There, there-
So it
there's
does
more
definitely
that
seem like it's a David and Goliath thing
yeah,
for sure.
there's more people voting in this vote than listen to Love Bites monthly on Spotify.
That's horrifyingly true. Oh, then again, it just shows how dedicated the fan base are for these Japanese bands. That they are that there's very few casual fans. All the fans seem to be really bought and sold. Yeah,
Mm.
just they're really
Yeah.
100%. That wasn't the
I
expression I
was
was
I
looking
was
for.
really surprised with Love Bites to be honest. Like Love Bites are always that band that I feel like I mean I had this debate in loads of the videos review that I say that Love Bites promotion kind of sucks. So but it's nice to see them up there and I was really like I said this before but because as when chat told me they were like there's three bands, guess who they are? And I turned around and said, look, Baby Metal's a shoe in because let's be honest, the power of Baby Metal is so freaking huge. They're in everything. The Baby Metal fan base is just next
Baby
level.
Metal isn't even here to
Well,
vote, right? It's just
Sue,
Sue.
yeah, just Sue
Yeah.
is the best
In the
singer.
singer, yeah.
I
But
mean,
I'm
if you want to
also
rub,
actually
if you
kind
want
of
to rub it in,
surprised
if you
by
want to
like
rub it
how
in,
many views she has, because and like that Floor Jansen is only on 3, because I know it's Tarja is also an ex Nightwish, but I know Nightwish has a massive following as well. I would have thought Floor Jansen to be on top for sure.
well, to be
I did
fair,
like the way, by the way, that you worded that, Neon. You didn't. You just said. You just literally said Sue is the best. You did. You, did, you didn't say she's getting the most votes. So no, Sue is the best.
Period.
Sue is the best. Period. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
No
that's
debate on that. I suppose the one thing that probably goes against Nightwish is they have 2 singers to vote for, and they can only vote once.
Yeah. I mean, Tarja does her own stuff right now, but I think probably the Nightwish fan base is split up between those.
Excuse me, don't you recognize that Baby Metal have 3 singers that could be voted amongst? And wasn't that the first thing you wanted to
That is
actually
very
say,
true, Howard.
Benedict?
There's
The
one
number
very
one Moa
important
fan here.
member missing here.
And I'll say to you here now on this video what I said off stream 2 seconds ago. Moa sings.
I'll
She
say
does
to you
sing.
what I'll say to you what I say in every single one of these chats. Caramel candid. Doesn't matter if I'm in Korea. I'm still wearing the caramel candid shirt.
How has Korea been for you, right? Actually, while you're there.
I only arrived today, but it's been pretty much the same as it usually is. It's kind of funny though. When I got off the plane, I was getting the train out of into the city, and there was an English fella there who was just like he was just like, asking some questions. He had his first time here, and he's a relatively young fella. I was just chatting to him, seemed like a really nice guy, and I was just talking about all the music, and I suddenly realized, oh yeah, I'm going to start doing that thing again where I promote like Asian bands. So you've come to Asia for the first time. Let me tell you about what we do best.
Hell yeah. So what are your guys' thoughts on this? Because originally, like Sue for me is pretty obvious shoe-in, but to see Love Bites on top, I think is actually is the major shock for me. And to see Hanabie as well.
I was going to say that's
top.
the one that seems more impressive, because looking at that's in the alternative metal band category. And just so I don't know, this might just be me, but the bands they're beating are bands who I know. Like, so they've got 19% of the vote there, and that's out of 7,000 votes. So that's like almost 14,000 votes. Yeah, sorry, 1,400 votes they've got already. But they're beating System of a Down, Evanescence, who I know Evanescence and System of a Down are probably more bands from the turn of millennium, but they're still quite popular, and I think they're still both releasing like material now. They're beating Tool.
Do they?
System of a Down haven't released anything in like 20 years. Evanescence just come out with just reformed and coming out with new stuff. So
yeah, and I think Amy Lee had some covers with like Bring Me the Horizon and stuff.
She did a song with Wagaki Band, of course.
That as well.
And they're beating Korn, but these are all bands from back in the day. Deftones, these are like really turn of the millennium bands. So I guess maybe it's just that their bands are older. But yeah, Hanabie I'm really glad to see Hanabie doing that well and like really winning over. But what do you guys consider with the current metal scene? I mean, you guys are more in touch with metal, but also more in touch with the Western scene, I think. So how
not really anymore.
Yeah, well, okay, more recently than me. How surprising is this for you, or do you just feel this is the way that the tide is going?
Well, I'm not so surprised about the group rating, but like if we go back to the singers, there's also, for example, Tatiana from Ginger, and I know Ginger is, I think, second place on the, which one is it? The alternative or like new generation metal groups or something. And I would have guessed like Tatiana to have way more votes, because I think she's one of the greatest metal singers of all time. She does harsh vocals, of course. That's probably why she doesn't have as many. But like so little, that's a bit surprising to me, because everyone that comes after that, I haven't even heard of.
I've had lots of people like coming into, even though like my YouTube's like completely about Japanese music, I've had people going, "Oh, you need to check out Ginger, best singer, Ginger." I've had loads of comments about that over the last 5 or 6 years. I just had so many people doing that. So yeah, I know is it a dedicated but small following? I wonder. Maybe like she's got a lot of people who really love her, but it's not like a massive thing.
It could be. Like
Apparently.
That's just me asking because I don't know.
I don't really know either,
we
but
don't know
like
either.
everyone I know that heard Ginger really thinks they are one of the greater new metal bands.
Now, you
It's
two
a
are
it,
supposed
it,
to be my
it's a
guides
it's
in
a
the metal
popular
world. You can't say you don't know things.
the thing with like these type of
Very
votes as
true.
well. It's a popularity pissing contest a little bit as well. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
who's more deserving. It's who is the most popular at the time.
Yeah, like you have to consider like who comes across this website, like which fan bases like shared in their channels and say, hey, vote for Sue or something. I can imagine that going on in like some baby metal channels, but
I could
like
imagine
probably
that
not
going
with
on as well.
Ginger so much.
Yeah, probably not. So I would say that most likely than not, it's probably a mixture of metalheads that are all voting for this, but also on top of that, probably a lot of communities in the Japanese kind of scene going, hey, look, we're gonna vote.
Yeah.
Go vote. Um, but I'd like to take the pessimistic approach here and say that I believe that the voting is all genuine.
I thought that's the pessimistic view. I think that's the optimistic view, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. It depends which way you look at it.
True, true. For me as a Japanese music supporter, I'm going to say that's the optimistic view. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's difficult for me to judge, and this is why I said to you when we were first talking about this subject is like it does always have to rely a little bit on the website. I mean, as Benedict pointed out, the website itself has got what like a crazy number of votes coming in. So I'm assuming this is a fairly well regarded thing, but I think you might also be right that it's probably just a lot of people who are like, let's get our communities involved. And it does seem like the Japanese music communities are more tightly knit. You know, they're less casual.
It would
They're
be
a little
interesting to
bit
know if
more.
it's actually the Japanese people or like the Western fan base that's doing that.
That's the ultimate
That's a
question,
good
isn't it?
point.
That's a very good point. Is it Japanese people voting for Japanese band, or is it Western people that really just
Because
like
I could actually
Japanese music?
think that Western people are just more excited about Japanese music than Japanese people, because for them it's like what they know, where they grew up with, you know? But for us, it's like having the Western music and then we discover Japanese music and we're like, whoa, what's this? And so I could think, yeah, they have a lot more like passion behind it.
And now I'm going to take the optimistic view and say that I'm just going to believe it's just because these bands are better than what the other bands that are there.
I think that's just a fact-based view.
Well, I mean, again, it's one of the things where I, for one, have been much more interested by music from Japan and pretty much exclusively music from Japan for so long now that it's like I'm definitely out of touch with what's going on in the West. And so occasionally I like to be reminded just to make sure it's like, oh, I'm not missing. Is the West making a revival? But you know, I always do it on a percentage basis, which get people you know, understand your taste and you know have good taste, get them to occasionally feed you music. And if less than 1 out of 5 makes you go wow, then it's probably fine because Japan's like pretty much a 4 out of 5 hit ratio.
The
So
one the one that really surprises me the most is the 40% from Love Bites. I feel like there's definitely probably a little bit of tampering on that one because I never really
are you
But then
suggesting
I
that Love
feel it's
Bites
really
might
the
have
most
slightly obsessive community fandom that likes to push their
then I feel it's really the most deserved one.
It feels, yeah, like if I was a neutral music fan and I was looking at that, I'd say that they deserve it 110%. But like,
No, they deserve it
if
40.93%.
I'm just
but
wondering if they're getting that much on a Western website and they're still performing in the tiny New Cross Inn, which is so small that the people can't get in and the heating's overdoing. Does
to
that
be
mean the
fair,
rest of the bands are busking? Does that mean
that
all the other bands are buskers?
well, this is the thing that makes me dubious a little bit because I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, you stick me in a room full of metalheads, like no offense to Love Bites or anything, but none of them are ever going to mention Love Bites. So, they're
I
very
think community bias has got
It's
to be a thing
also
then.
just if you look at all the pictures and then Love Bites, like there's one group that has a female fronted singer, but every other person is like a long-haired old school metal guy. Like the
Are you are
stereotype.
you are you being a sexist, Benedict, and insinuating
No, I'm
that they're
saying that's
only
amazing that they are the group.
But like I said,
yeah.
110% deserved. Like Hanabie for me, is a lot less surprising. because I feel like when they toured Europe, I think good word of mouth like really spread for them for their shows on their tour. A lot of people really enjoyed their shows, and I heard lots of good things from numerous people going, "Oh, Hanabie was so freaking good." And unlike Love Bites, who I absolutely freaking adore, by the way, as if that's not like already blatantly obvious.
We've got the videos on his channel to prove it. Don't worry.
Yeah, like I've heard more from like my metal mates who talk more about Hanabie than they do Love Bites. Like they know Hanabie way more in the spectrum of like bands they've heard. Now, obviously, that could not be the same for everybody. That's just, it could just be my group of mates, but they know who Hanabias are, but they don't know who Love Bites are. So to see I think Hanabia really did get big promotion boost when they did their latest tour around Europe. I think word of mouth spread that they are a really good group, and I think they've benefited from that hugely.
I think that there is that part though that I mean it can't be denied. Like with Hanabie, I mean I've had like twos and fro's with some of their songs, but I've always said that the one thing you can't deny is that both conceptually and musically, whether it be your style or not, they are absolutely just amazing. And I think I don't know. I just don't see anything that creative coming from Western bands. And again, I am saying this as someone who doesn't listen regularly enough to actually have a fair opinion on that, but I do occasionally listen. And I just never hear anything coming across where I go, yeah, that's as interesting as what Hanabie are doing. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So do you
I'd say
genuinely
it's maybe
think
just not as innovative, but it's
Yeah,
still
Polyphia
creative.
are quite creative, Howard.
who?
Polyphia.
So who's that? Your mic went quiet for a second there.
Oh God. So are you joking or did you not hear me?
No, I heard you.
Yeah,
I'm actually doing some important mathematics here. Wait a second. This is important mathematics I'm doing here. All right. So I looked at the power metal vote. I've taken every single band, put them all together, and here's an interesting statistic.
Go on.
So if you take all of the bands together, there is a total of 66 men and 6 women. 5 of those women are in Love Bites, which makes up 40% of the overall vote. And 66 men are basically confined to the other.
It's not fans, it's actually some pro women movement.
Yeah, that's what it's us. We're too woke. Ears to the East has gone too woke. We're just
oh God! There's someone in the woke brigade. Oh, shit, it's over, guys. It's over.
All right, which one of us has got enough hair to dye it purple?
None.
Oh wait,
I don't
you
know.
already
I reckon
dyed
I've
your
got enough
beard.
hair.
You dyed your beard purple, didn't you, Neon?
I did dye back purple.
It's us. We've gender swapped metal. We've made it all female. The difference is we gender swapped metal, but we didn't make it crap. But yeah, I think that like you look at Hanabie and it's undeniable that they're bringing something that to me, even as someone who I listen to some of their songs, they're not for me. Every single song I'm like impressed by. Wow, there's something really interesting going on there. You listen to Love Bites and it's like it's musically so compelling and there's so much more than just being heavy. I think that's the point. Is like metal, it doesn't make you less metal to have variation and creativity. And I think what they're doing, like bands like Hanabie especially, is they're demonstrating that actually, you know what, the metal fan base is quite diverse. You give them something that is not metal all the time, and they'll like it because it just enhances the metal aspects that there are. Yeah. Metal fans can take when a song goes into like a something very different if it goes all digital and 8-bit or if
example.
Well,
Baby metal.
Best stick that.
Fine. There you go. I've got my bandmate top on today. There we go.
There we go. I was about to say the only one who's truly got a metal shirt in here is actually Benedict for a change. But then again, you have got the metal hat and you have got the metal flag, Neon. So you are still metal, as I know you like to tell your audience to keep it.
We have to check out some rock awards as well and see if a bandmate and stuff is on there.
We should do an Ears to the East best of video, like just to piss people off.
Like a ranking of all the groups.
I like pissing people off. Let's do
Let's do that.
Let's do that.
Sounds like a great idea.
So just a quick question though. If someone was to ask you right now, and I'm taking borders away from this, borders totally away from this, and I'm asking this to both of you, who would you say off the top of your head are the top 3 metal singers right now in the world?
Ooh, off the top of my head.
Just off the top of your head.
I would definitely
can I-
say
can
Sue. I would also say Tatiana, and then it's becoming difficult because there are so many. There's like Asami, there's Yukina, there's Fuki.
Again, I'm aware this is a question you can't give an honest answer because it's going to change from day to day. I'm just trying to get a vibe for what you would
probably
think.
one of those, I guess.
For me, I would probably say Corey Taylor. He's just got an iconic voice. Can't beat Corey.
It's all female for me.
I'd say Sue as well. And for third, if I was stretching, probably James Hetfield. People are going to laugh at me for that one, but again, it's just a really iconic voice.
It's iconic, yeah.
Can I just throw an interesting point here? And I wasn't originally thinking this, but now you've both said that, and you both put Sue in there. Now, I would say that of all the singers that could be picked, Sue, and hear me out on this, Sue is probably the least metal singer imaginable. In fact, the entire concept of her group isn't it amazing having pop singers doing metal? So if anything, she's only a metal singer because of the concept of having, that made Baby Metal famous to begin with, which is let's have a non-pop vocal on metal.
I think
so it's interesting to hear you guys put her in top 3.
But I think you could say like Asami or Fuki. Well, okay, in classical metal there are voices like that, but yeah, forget what I said.
I think you got a good point there. I think the reason I said that was more because I was thinking with Baby Metal, I know it's not that now, but Baby Metal, the whole concept was deliberately, this is not what you would consider a metal singer. Exactly. I think that it's the fact that was very opaquely what the idea was. And although she's become more at home with that, she's still vocally, her vocal tone is definitely more akin to what you'd expect from a good pop singer than what you'd naturally assume that is metal. If anything, the only reason we would say that is metal is because of the world that Baby Metal has helped to create from their own fame, I think. So I think that's an interesting point. Do you feel like they've moved the needle on what would be considered a metal singer anyway? I love that I'm making you think about metal in a whole new way.
I was actually wondering how they did the nominations. Can anyone suggest someone, or how is it done?
Just find out. It's all done by the Baby Metal community.
Yeah,
free votes.
There's definitely some again, popularity pissing contests going on there because, like I said, bands like System of a Down haven't released anything in like 20 odd years. So,
I'm surprised they're even in there if they're not.
I was surprised System of a Down were in there. Like again, that everybody loves System of a Down. Doesn't matter who you are, they're so creative.
And it's kind of bothering me that Baby Metal is not there as a group. It's just Sue, because I think they would also deserve some. I spot at least an alternative metal band or new gen or whatever you want to categorize it.
Yeah, not seeing
I don't think they're the new generation anymore.
Not
really. Then alternative.
Yeah, not
old, my friend.
Not seeing Baby Metal actually as a band itself in the category is actually kind of surprising.
Do you think it's because of the fact that they're not a band, they don't play their own instruments, that they might not be considered eligible on a website like this?
Could be the reason.
I think that's probably the reason. Because can you imagine the furore if they got more votes than instrument playing bands? It would just they would delegitimize the website. You can imagine the website running for cover, oh, sorry, we didn't mean it. And
a metal band wins that don't play metal. Yeah.
So next month this becomes babymetal.com.
That could be. To be honest with you, that is probably the legit reason they probably have to play your own instruments to be in the vote. I can only see that being the one thing.
Does make sense though.
Yeah, that would not include them, to be honest. Otherwise, I can't think of anything else why they wouldn't be in there.
Yeah, best metal group. Just Baby Metal.
Just one option.
And then just suddenly someone throws in passcode.
Mm.
Oh dear. Okay. So yeah, I would definitely say that for me, like I do think that one of the best things about metal is, regardless of your feelings or opinions on anything, I think is that there is this really wonderful um mishmash of genres, which has given us more than anything a mishmash of different types of singers. Now, I think this is again one of the reasons why I like Japanese metal in a way that I liked some Western metal growing up, but it was like too much of it was samey for me. Whereas Japanese metal has just been so much more compelling because it mixes things. And I wasn't even thinking about it, but of course, as Benedict said, Fuki is technically a metal singer, which is such a bizarre thing for me to think of. But yeah, Fuki, she's a metal singer. She loves metal, and her voice is just like one of the absolute best that you could imagine hearing. And then you put her alongside the likes of Yukina.
Yeah. Unlucky Morpheus also I'm really missing here on these lists.
To be honest though, Unlucky Morpheus, although we are surprised Love Bites have got in there, but Love Bites have a big international following, even if they're not that much more famous than Unlucky Morpheus in Japan. But Unlucky Morpheus just don't have the overseas following that they deserve.
I'm gonna lose about like 20,000 subscribers here by saying this, but if Fuki was in the vote, I would
Go into minus.
I would vote for Fuki over Sue.
I thought you were going to say the other way around actually for a minute. I was there. I think most. I mean,
vote.
No, we're about to lose all the rest of the subscribers here, saying that like as much as I love Sue, I think most people would admit that Fuki's got more of a voice.
More, she's got more in a locker, more range.
I would argue she has more of a typical metal voice or something you would expect in metal. That's the point we touched on before, you Howard, that Sue's style kind of was intended to be not to be what you expect.
Yeah, exactly. I think that Fuki's style is definitely more divisive. Like I can, like if someone said to me, "Look, I just don't like the way Fuki sings," I would totally understand that. If someone said, "I just don't like the way Sue sings," I'd be more confused. Like, well, her voice, she sings more in a more of a traditional singing way, whereas Fuki's like a lot of heavy vibrato and stuff like that. And so I can imagine if more people preferred Sue just as a taste thing. But I think if you're just coming down to who's got more power and range, it's kind of got to be Fuki. I mean, that's like her whole thing is that she's got like so much power and range.
Fuki's like an add-on extension for a desk. Like if you order a desk and it's Sue,
I just want a second just to sort of just try see if I can work out where you're going
put
with
it together.
Let me finish. Let me finish. If you order a normal desk, that's Sue, does the job. But if you order a desk with a cup holder, that's Fuki.
Oh my god.
Here's what I'd say. He's like that is such a great example, but now you've just got me thinking of like the furniture
being compared
shop.
to a table.
It's like you got me thinking of like so it's like I think of like Sue as more being
that's the thumbnail now. We need two tables, one with Fuki's face and one with Sue.
I think of Sue as being a reliable, high quality, well made wooden dinner table that is like great for everything. You can have dinner there, you can do your work there, you can do anything. Whereas Fuki is like a specific desk with all of the extra like add-ons and the extra hidden cubby holes, and it's got like a charger built into the side of it. And it's just like this sort of like, yeah, that's what it is. It's like not exactly what everyone wants all the time, but very impressive.
It comes with a
warning. Throw in my comparison.
It comes.
Let's see Benedict.
Sue is like a clear glass table, and Fuki is also a glass table, but it has like some swirls of color mixed in.
It's like genuinely use the table thing. It's like you narrowed it down to just glass table.
Because table it sounds so, I don't know, barren, but a glass table, it's like something nice and thin, clean, like Sue's voice,
My favorite thing is like it's like a glass table and like Fuki.
Although if
also like a glass table.
If Fuki was a table, though, she comes with an added doors box.
Nice.
So also with a label is prone to leaving.
So it's like this is a table that occasionally goes and plays with the insanely overcolored beanbag in the corner.
Yeah. Fuki's a table with wheels. She never stays still.
Go to the correct niveau.
So
wait. Yeah, we're all just disappearing out the bottom of the frame.
Yeah, we're all
I just
getting
wanted to get
comfortable
down
as we're talking
to the
about it.
correct, like the appropriate level.
So, look,
Cool.
I just think like to be honest, going back to the metal thing and no, not tables anymore. I shouldn't have said anything. I fucking twisted that fucking conversation sideways. But I just
New
think
subscriber count minus 200.
yeah, fucking minus 200. Jesus Christ, I know. Um, but I think it's a beautiful thing for Japanese music, especially to see all these bands leading. It's been a really good year with Hanabie touring, with LOVEBITES releasing a new album. BABYMETAL is always up there, because the voting and the feverish fan base. But it's just nice to see, especially in the terms of Hanabie and LOVEBITES, where their fan bases are smaller compared to some of the bands they're voting against. It's really nice to see them coming up and
Let me ask you
smashing
something.
it.
What is the group you think you would have think of first is missing for you? Like that you
I,
haven't discovered
I
yet on
would
these.
I would honestly say, like, if I had to put another band in there, I would agree with what Benedict said before, and I said Unlucky Morpheus for me is probably a must that must be in there. So unfortunately, I don't think they'll get the international recognition they to be included. But I hope one day they just need to actually tour in fucking Europe. So
Yeah, I always kind of compare Unlucky Morpheus to a bit of a more metal Nightwish, which is why I'm surprised they are so, yeah, not known so much. They always try to advertise them to Nightwish fans.
yeah, again, I think Unlucky Morpheus comes down to I just see like the tip of a cock on fucking Howard's thing now.
Oh my God. So Howard, tell us
There we go.
your
That's
group.
about the right size.
Oh, sorry. Tell you what, that you're
Which
wrong.
group do you miss the most on these lists, or would you want to see the most?
Um, I mean, it's hard for me to say which group do I think deserves to be on here because I think there's that whole thing about I don't really know what groups are popular enough with the Western fan base.
Yeah, but like, who do
I,
you would you like to see? Who do you think? Just go with your guts.
I mean, the weird one is, in a way, I kind of keep on coming back in my head to Passcode because I just think Passcode's so interesting. And I really like that most recent single, but that most recent single is probably takes them away from metal a bit, which is probably going to be an interesting point. I think Passcode have always been really interesting, but it's weird because I'm sure there's going to be metal bands I've listened to who are not coming straight to mind. But
Gianluca's had a good year. So I'm
who's that?
surprised Gianluca. So I'm actually surprised not to see.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm surprised not to see them on the list, actually. Thinking about it.
I think we're going to start seeing. I mean, so the next video we're going to do, for anyone who's watching this, we're going to be talking a little bit about this. We're going to be start talking about some of the upcoming Japanese bands who've been mixing pop and metal in new and interesting ways. But there's a couple of them who I will be talking about in that video, who I think are really the ones who I will be expecting to see coming up in lists like this in the near future. But I think that's because we had like this. I don't want to coin these terms. I really don't like when people separate things into generations. Yeah, this with K-pop is, oh, this is first generation, second generation, and you get this with a lot of things. But I do think that we can see there have been certain lines in the growth of Japanese music, especially in the metal scene. In that, obviously, it really kicked off with Baby Metal, creating, turning, fusion metal, as I guess we can call it, as the main thing coming out of Japan, like the signature thing coming out of Japan is that. And Babymetal were really riding that wave as the prime example for such a long time. And I said this when I first heard Hanabie. I think Hanabie are like so different from Babymetal, but they're the first band I've heard since who capture the same concept in that they have fused the two things together in a way that I think this both catches the current feeling of contemporary music and also the current feeling of metal music, as far as I can tell. And they've done it in a way that it's definitely scalable. They can keep on like expanding on this. It's a style that can get more and more from. And plus, they're so different from Babymetal because they're a traditional band. Just the way they've mixed the images in a very different way. So I think Hanabie are, I believe, at the forefront of perhaps the first big revitalization we've had post Babymetal. Post Babymetal, we had a lot of groups trying to copy that thing, Lady Baby, stuff like that, where it was clear they were trying to ride the coattails. I think we're going to get a lot of bands post Hanabie are riding the coattails of that. And some of those bands are bands that we will be talking about in that next video. But that's kind of how I feel. I feel like I think that the Japanese metal scene, if it keeps going well, we could be about to see another big growth spurt from it. And then you've got bands like Lovebites who are just completely outside of all this and just like, well, look, we're just going to do metal in the old school way that it was designed to be doing, melodic, big, grand, and theatrical. And bless them for doing that and keeping that alive. So yeah, that's my long-winded answer to your simple question.
Apparently, it seems to strike a nerve with enough people that they win this vote.
Yeah. By the way, I just
hope so.
noticed that you've responded to my Zoom name. Cheers, Benedict. And thank you especially to Neon, who just went full on to like semi-advertising my channel. Love you guys. Love you. Unless he's actually planning to open a channel called Neon Broadcast and like actually take all my viewers. It could well happen. I've seen your subscriber count, man. I was like, I'm staying clear.
I keep seeing you two now going hello there, and the only thing I want to do is general broadcast, general reactor net.
Why is it I get the feeling that there's more to that Star Wars scene than just the one scene that I know? Well, hello there, and that's it. That's where the scene ends for me. That's where the GIF ends, so that's where the scene ends for me.
I say I just
General
discovered something.
Kenobi.
I'm not sure if I can take this vote seriously anymore. Because
Why?
Oh God, go on.
Revocation is missing from the death metal band.
Yeah, yeah, who?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm really angry that revocation is it revocation?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm really angry at the revocation of missing. Although apparently Godzilla is in there. That's interesting. I didn't know Godzilla was a metal band. He looks like he's turned into like 4 tiny little Western people. There you go. All right, so we've got a minute left on the free version of Zoom. Oh, how?
You mean
Oh, how
Gojira?
We're not worthy.
Indeed, and the joke was being called. And so I will say a big thank you to the 2 metal fans here who led me through this. They got a much better understanding of the metal scene, but it would appear that even they accept that Japanese metal is better than Western metal. So it seems in all genres, go to Japan. And yeah, I think it's been really great. Any final thoughts? We've got 40 seconds. Any final thoughts from you guys?
Just we'll leave a link in the description so you can go and vote if you want to go and help the bands win, and also just
Gotta
comment
remember to
down
do
below
that.
your thoughts as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, let us know what you think of the situation at the minute with these Japanese artists all winning their categories.
All right. Benedict?
Also, maybe should they do a separate category for Japanese?
No, just let's win them on their own turf.
Okay.
So everyone, remember to keep your ears to the east. I'll disappear off the bottom of the screen, but can't.